Hey guys, so I'm here in the cinema about to see the new Tomb Raider film! Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Yeah, it's been a few weeks since I've been able to make a video because I've been doing placements and it's just been absolutely crazy and I haven't had any spare time. But there's nothing to inspire a video like the new Tomb Raider film, which I have been excited about for a really long time. So I went to see this last night and I was really excited. I'm a huge fan of Tomb Raider. I used to be a gamer before I somehow became an adult and now I don't really have time or money to be a gamer, but I very much hold a spot in my heart for all the Tomb Raider games that I was able to play pretty much up until the end of the PS3, and then I don't have a PS4 so I can't play any further. But definitely keen to see the film and definitely to compare it to how the 2003 or whatever it was, Angelina Jolie films were. It starts off with basically Lara Croft, maybe like the early 20s iteration of Lara Croft, who apparently can't speak any other languages, which I don't think is true even of Lara Croft at that age, and has rejected her inheritance and is working as a bike courier in London, and in her spare time gets beaten a lot at boxing matches, and it's not really what I would consider to be like the canon of Lara Croft, but you know what, they're going with a different direction, and with every single popular character in fiction there's always loads of different universes that are kind of spun off of it, and I feel like this is a little bit of one of those. It's not really exactly how Lara Croft is portrayed in the games, it's not how she's portrayed in the other films, but that's a different matter. This version of Lara Croft is kind of, I can't think of another word except for neutered. Even in the games and in the earlier films, she had this, like, she would embrace the fact that she loved adventure exploration and finding these artifacts and opening these tombs, and she was still being a woman and being kind of flirty was part of her persona, and they really, I don't know whether it's just because the lead actress just doesn't have that in her, but it just doesn't portray in this version of the character at all. She just seems completely neutered. For example, there's a scene where she goes to pick up some orders from the restaurant where she's taken them from, and then goes out to deliver them, and the guy that obviously fancies her, and I have a feeling that the old Lara Croft would kind of flirt a bit and, you know, be quite cheeky about it and know that that was the case with him and, you know, make a joke about it or whatever, but she was just like, she was portrayed as completely oblivious, and I just don't, that, I know it's supposed to be an early iteration of the character, but that just seems so unlike her character that, well, she must have developed that personality at some point, so why does she not have even a smattering of self-awareness at that point? And then she undertakes a bike chase through London, which is probably quite true to form of the Lara Croft character, because she has absolutely no regard for anyone around her. The fact that she's not only nearly dying herself, but putting everybody in London at risk of horrible car accidents or traffic accidents because she's just like weaving in and out of traffic, making everyone else act erratically. Well, I mean, having gone from the way that she kind of breaks into tombs and randomly shoots endangered wolves in the games, that's kind of true to form. She kind of doesn't give a fuck. So in a way I was kind of just like, ugh, but actually that probably is pretty much what Lara Croft would do in a bike race. And then the story kicks in proper. She goes in to sign some papers which would officially recognise that her father has died after he's been missing for 7 years, presumably in an area of Japan. She receives a puzzle box, and it leads her to, you know, it leads her to where her father's grave is, and kind of goes on a path of discovery, as you would in the game. You would get like a key to a place, and then that place would lead you to another place. And that starts off her adventure, and she goes to Japan. And basically she's trying to reach an island where there's like a murderous Japanese queen who apparently led a kind of era of scourge and death, and all of her people were afraid of her. And the only reason that that era stopped is that some of her generals dragged her away and imprisoned her. Now, I did say there was going to be spoilers, and basically the spoiler is that the queen actually had some kind of horrible communicable disease that kills within like a minute. So she took herself and sort of buried herself in the tomb, which, I mean, quite brave. I mean, I wouldn't be up for that, to be honest, because the way that when they opened the coffin and her face is all preserved, so she was obviously went in there when she was alive. You know, well, that's actually not true, because obviously she could have just silently died and then just had a fresh face. But assuming that she went in there when she was alive, she went in there because she was a carrier of this disease, but it didn't affect her, but it affects anyone else that touches her. Basically just their arm starts turning black, and then their face starts turning black, and then they go mental, and then they die. So that's the eventual outcome, which, yeah, sorry, I ruined that a little bit early for you guys. In the film, she meets a group of people called Trinity, who are basically going around blowing up random rocks in this island, and trying to find the queen. It's never really explained why, though. But I think that's kind of deliberate, because they're trying to set up for a sequel. They're trying to leave some information unknown. Like, there's a main guy who's leading this campsite, and most of the people working there are slaves and that have just been captured. And he only has one person on the other end of the phone telling him what to do, and I mean, you might need to watch the film to find out who that might be, but basically all that stuff is setting up for a sequel. And obviously they eventually do find the tomb, as they found the Queen Himiko, and she's in this kind of inner portion of the tomb, which is in amidst lots of kind of Tomb Raider style puzzles, like colour gem puzzles and traps. I would say Indiana Jones style traps, but of course they're Tomb Raider style traps in my mind, because I knew about Tomb Raider before I knew about Indiana Jones when I was young, which are very cool. The best bit of the film for me, and you're going to think I'm a total weirdo, is the fact that when she escapes, when she's captured by the guys in the camp, they're trying to blow everything up and find the tomb, and she has her wrist bound, and then she just runs away with her wrist bound through the jungle. She jumps into please, if anybody does whitewater rafting, let me know if this is actually fucking possible. She jumps into like rapids, churning white, you know, going down towards a waterfall style rapids. She manages to keep afloat with her hands like this, like trying to swim like this. I don't think you could keep afloat even if you had everything out, because it's quite strong rapids. And then manages to hold on to a bit of rock for a second and try and free herself, but she doesn't manage that. And then is like washed out over the edge of the waterfall, and at the very last second catches the ropes that are around her arms on a jagged bit of plane that's like stretched out across the edge of this waterfall that's obviously crash landed there or something. And then like swings up with the momentum of the rope. I mean, I know she's meant to be strong, but I mean, you can see her core, you can see her abs, right? But honestly, it doesn't look like she has enough arm strength to do that kind of stuff. Anyway, it is very entertaining because it looks completely far-fetched, and you just think there are 10 million points in this struggle where you just like, oh, fuck it, I'm done for. But she never does, and it's really, really entertaining. She basically gets up onto this plane, and she runs across the wing of the plane into the body of the plane, and then the body of the plane starts to tip over and fall, and then she ends up on the window of it, and the window is all about to fall out, and then she grabs for the seatbelt. Oh, it's great fun. It's great fun. But the best bit is the bit where her wrists are bound and she's still managing to do all this crazy shit, and I'm just like, that's definitely not possible. Almost certainly not possible, but also it's awesome, so I was quite excited about that. Once her arms are free and she basically, you know, on the ground, and she manages to find her dad. Her dad's living in a cave there, sort of going half mental, but he kind of stops being mental quite quickly, which I guess is convenient to the story. And then her dad leads her back to the camp, or she decides to go back to the camp and stop what they're doing, even though she doesn't really know the reason why, apart from the whole world will be destroyed. But why though? They're saying it's because of this virus, but they didn't really know that at the time. They just knew there was some kind of curse, and this iteration of Lara Croft doesn't really even seem to believe in the supernatural. Yeah, the supernatural does exist in the world of Tomb Raider, so in a way it was kind of annoying that they were like, oh, it's a scientific reason. Well, in this canon, the supernatural does exist, so I feel like there should have been something of that in there. Even in, I can't remember which game it is, one of the PS2 games, she's depicted as a 13 or 14 year old following someone around in like an Irish island, and there are those little white gremlin things coming to attack you with knives. Does anyone remember this from the game? And you know, she was whatever age she would have been just before her dad disappeared, and she was, you know, encountering lots of supernatural stuff, including, I think it was like a ghost demon horse rider and stuff. So I don't know why she's because it's supposed to be a different iteration of the character, isn't it? So I suppose in this iteration of the character, she spent all of her years just like boxing and archery, which just kind of seems a bit rubbish, because I feel like she should have gone places. But anyway, so this has not been a very structured rant or review of Tomb Raider. That's because I don't have that much time. I certainly don't have time to plan the script and write it down. It's just my preliminary thoughts on the film. Basically, it was sort of like, if anyone's seen The Mummy 3, it was entertaining to watch once, and some of the shots were kind of cool to watch, but ultimately you feel like, where are the real versions of these characters? Maybe I'm being closed-minded, but having seen, and Lara Croft has evolved, and that's absolutely fine, because the evolution's kind of made sense from what stuff that happened, but just having this character that, oh, she's supposed to be like feisty and adventurous, but she doesn't speak any other languages, and she's depicted as like she's the one that stays at home while her father goes out and adventures, which is not true of what I would call the canon of Lara Croft. And it's just not, it's like the story of a really cool character, and she goes out and finds this stuff, but it feels like they just slapped the name of Lara Croft on it to get loads of people to come and watch it. And it was fun to watch once. It certainly wouldn't be something that I would own, that I would watch again, really, because what they think is a twist is like the most rubbish twist ever, so I won't spoil it for you, but I'm just like, right, so that's just a setup for a sequel then. That's not an actual twist, is it? For a character that we've met like once. Also, just like to add this, Lara Croft cannot fucking fight at all. She just gets smacked around a lot. And having seen the other footage of Lara Croft, who's not that much older, who's able to like parry and block and roll and move in the fight and defend, and then this Lara Croft that just gets hit on her ass a lot, it's kind of embarrassing to watch. So I would say, you know, she's supposed to have been fight training for a long time, and that's not really in there either. And there's no sort of evidence of her acrobatic skills. That's just literally not in there at all. This was a whole big rant. It's not going as well as I hoped, mostly because I'm really tired and I actually have a whole day to study ahead of me. So I'm gonna go off and do that. Thank you guys for watching. It's snowing outside, so I don't think there's going to be much opportunity for me to go out and do anything in London. But if you wait till after the credits, you can see a video of me and my friend singing "In the jungle, the mighty jungle." There'll be more of that after the credits though, which is about 9 seconds long, so I'm sure you can wait. So, see you next time. Hopefully it won't be as long, but it might be because my life is kind of mental. So, see you soon. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. It's supposed to be singing. Oh, do the Wimbleways if you can't do the singing.
Okay, I'll do Wimbleway.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Away. Well, you're not winning the Wimbledon of the Year award.
Well, if that's what I'm losing out on, I'm still winning.
You're still Wimbledon.